Kamehameha Schools was founded in 1887 by Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop. Responsible for 365,000 acres of land, 98% of which is in agriculture and conservation, Kamehameha Schools seeks to malama ika aina by practicing ethical, prudent, and culturally appropriate stewardship of its land and natural resources. Helping to perpetuate Kamehameha's vision of thriving lands and thriving communities are hundreds of farmers whose labor and dedication have preserved a centuries-old tradition of sustainable living, allowing the Aina to provide for us all.
Even in hard times like this, I really believe I can survive. And that feeling comes from having done things with my parents as a child and realized that they too have this definite and strong feeling that, oh, they can manage no matter what. There was a large Japanese community in Honau now, and this must have been a central area when you think about there being a restaurant, a post office, as well as more than one store.
Actually, this was a Kumamoto area. They had areas, or then when you go down Honaro, Kainaliu way, they follow the original people.
Right.
So mostly Kumamoto here at that time.
Yeah. I mean, he was born down here, yeah? He used to walk up and come up. Like me, I was.
We were down by the painted church.
Yeah.
Little bit south.
Right, so my dad's family lived near the Painted Church, which is oftentimes what we say the Makai Highway, where my mother's family grew up on this Mauka Highway area. So, and we'll head down to the Makai area where we go further down into the boonies. The location we're at now is where my mother's family home used to be, and also my uncle had a business called Honau Now Market. If not for things like this, then my parents wouldn't have been able to stay in Hawaii. My mother's father farmed coffee about a quarter mile from here, and that's where the family did coffee farming. And once again, all of this is thanks to Kamehameha Schools, because it was through that opportunity of having these leases available that they were able to do that. Today they talk a lot about needing Mauka Makai connector roads between the one direction highways that we tend to have in West Hawaii. The importance of those roads was because in those days they walked to get to where they wanted to go. This farm on the Mauka of us here was always in coffee that I remember, and the leasing of it over the years never changed. They kept it in coffee. Whereas the farm here on the other side is macadamia nuts. This farm was originally started by my dad, and in my head I hear sometime in the early 60s is when he picked up this lease. I had mentioned that at one time, just through Kamehameha Schools, there was over 12 acres that my father and mother used to manage in terms of a working farm.
Well,
and it started with coffee. My dad came here and first planted coffee.
And between had the nuts growing, yeah? So we used to come pick up the nuts too.
But before the mac nuts matured, because the mac nut took 7 years or so, what did you plant?
That's all in the coffee and nuts.
You don't remember the papaya?
Oh no, not over here. That's on the other.
Oh, no, I remember coming up here and having to pick papaya. There was papaya over here too.
Yeah, I know. I used to supply to my brother.
Yeah, because her brother had the produce business. She planted papayas on several of the Kamehameha school leases. And this was a transition from coffee to macadamia nut. But because the macadamia nut took 7 years before you even got a crop, she interplanted papayas. And so the papayas, because that was the cash crop. And that helped sustain through that period when the macadamia nuts were still growing. And coffee at that time, you could still sell it, but it wasn't the kind of prices that we had seen in this last decade. During the time when the coffee was at one of its best periods, when we were kids, was when my second sister was in high school, and so she worked hard also. I helped out. I won't lie. I used to hide in. There was a lone nut tree on this farm. I used to go climb in that tree, hang on for dear life, and actually go to sleep up in the air. And they couldn't find me. They said, "Where is Wayne hiding?" And then finally, I don't know who managed to find me, but they did. And a few weeks ago, my son and I were out here, and I let him have a taste of working because he was my back man, and we were out throwing fertilizer. You know, come on, Q, hurry up! You know, bring me the next batch of fertilizer. And so he was out there running. He was out there running, and that was good. That was really good. In almost all of Hawaii, and definitely all of Kona, coffee picking is still by hand labor. And so the focus is on these red cherries. And especially so given the gourmet coffee market today, the people who are buying the cherry are very particular about what you bring into them. And so what you see is the red cherries ready to be picked, and then of course the green immatures that have yet to fully develop.
We used to come early and work till about 3-4 hours, but now only half a day. I go from 9 to about 12. I pick about, well, this is the first round, so it's not ripe. So 2 days I pick, when was it? Monday and Tuesday, about 2/3 bag. But each time getting ripe like that, then maybe half a day, pick about 3/4 bag, 10 to 5 pounds, yeah?
I have no doubt that the farm plays an important role because like periods like now when the economy is down, I've always got the farm that I can fall back on. When things are really good, I'll hire to do everything. And then when things get really slow like now, like I said, I'm out here myself throwing the fertilizer.
Over 3,000 acres of Kamehameha School's agriculture land produces greater than 70% of all Kona coffee production on Hawaii Island. Aside from Kona coffee and cattle, Kamehameha Schools has leased land to farm crops such as papaya, banana, kalo, mango, and more. The Tanakas and Onakas are just two examples of multi-generational lessees who have helped to sustain agriculture throughout Hawaii and further Pauahi's vision.
So ranching is all, that's our love. This was a farm lease. I had cattle in here before, ran cattle in here, but the cost is per acre is way too higher than to farm, than to raise cattle. So I went into farming. Then we went to nuts. Nuts didn't turn out. And yeah, my son is on the other side. He's growing some sod now. You know, the grass, and he cut them up and sell them. But he just started that too. A lot of the corrals my dad made was rock wall. Until this day, we still have the rock wall. And he made a lot of concrete water trough. We still have them there today. We get about, I think about 1,200 acres, over 1,200. Yeah. Good and bad land. We get a lot of rock piles here. But we try to improve the good area. Certain areas you can put all the money in the world, you can never get your money back. So forget about that. When we list the land, we list the good and the bad. But we watch where we get the good land, where we can increase our production. You know. And rainfall is a key in raising cattle. Management can be poor, but you get good rainfall, make you look good. You know. That's why everybody talk about why that ranch is really bad and whatnot. Rainfall a lot of times. You know, you get good rainfall, you get a lot of feed, nutrients. Cattle gonna look much better. They perform much better too. You know. So it's really, really important. But this is the working corral. But saddle house is running out of sight. We saddle up, we shoe horse, we do everything right there. From here we go out. So we get horses, small paddocks for horses. And my grandfather he had just few head. My dad increased the herd, and after I took over, I made more improvement. I increased the herd more. So in that case, I know each generation got better, you know, and still surviving yet. only with cattle now, and it's really hard only with cattle sometimes. That's why, like I say, coffee is always important to have it on the side too.
I strongly believe, as far as being an American, about enjoying this life in Hawaii. It is thanks to the farm and thanks to the opportunities that came out of being able to lease land from Kamehameha schools.
For over 100 years, the estate of Keali'i Pauahi has provided a historical tie between Kamehameha schools and those who care for the land in Hawaii. Kamehameha schools applauds local multi-generational farmers who have cultivated our aina and continue to pass it on to future generations.